You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Happy Saturday. I'm Dalby from the Brock and Dalby Show, and I hope that you are enjoying what's the early part of your weekend. Welcome to the Cut for Time edition of the Brock and Dalby Podcast. This is our chance to look back through the week at some of the stuff that didn't make it from the show into the daily podcast that we still thought was really fun, and we bring you some of our weekly segments from the show, like Text Us Tuesday, Text Us Thursday, and Would You Rather. Now, we are also going to be talking about things we miss, about buying CDs today, and having a conversation about weird things you might find in a vending machine. But first, let's take some of your questions on Text Us Tuesday.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This one doesn't have a name on it, but it just says, "Can I hear 1 week by the Bare Naked Ladies?" We play that all the time, right?
Do we have the Bare Naked Ladies? Let me check. I don't know if we do.
I would be shocked if we had that song in our system.
Bare Naked.
We got some Brian Wilson.
Well, we got the old apartment.
No 1 week, though.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No 1 week. It's all been done. We got that. Someone just said, did you know Elvis's middle name was Aaron? And I did not.
I had heard that before. I don't think it's knowledge I keep at the front of my brain, but it was in the back somewhere.
Aaron Presley sounds like an adult film star name.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right?
I think just Presley in general as a last name is a tough one.
Yeah.
This one here says, when's the last time you ugly cried?
Not recently, I guess.
No? I ugly cry at movies sometimes.
Yeah?
If they're about, like, fathers and their children, that'll usually get me going.
Yeah.
I watched Coco from Disney the other day, and that one gets me.
I guess it would have to be every time that the Bank of Canada raised interest rates.
Got a little
I probably ugly cried there. Yeah. Why did I buy a house?
Mike says, what's your biggest guilty pleasure song that is outside of the rock genre? And to start it off, he admits to liking Fancy by Iggy Azalea.
1,000 Miles, Vanessa Carlton.
Oh, that is a good song.
My go-to karaoke song. If I could pick another one, Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus.
Can't wait to hear it at the Super Bowl.
Don't judge me. That is an absolute tune. That should be the national anthem of the United States, honestly. Throw my hands up in the air. They're playing my song, Butterflies Fly Away.
I have been getting into musicals lately. I mowed my lawn yesterday while listening to the soundtrack to Hamilton and just like singing every word. So I think that's probably mine.
For a second, I thought you were talking about like the city Hamilton. I was like, there's a soundtrack?
Dude.
Was that just the steel mill?
I would love to watch a Broadway musical about the city of Hamilton.
Oh, God. Someone says, I know you're a Michelob guy, Brock, but what are your favorite beers? You're not really a beer guy, eh?
I don't drink a ton of beer, so I kind of have... It's almost like when you go to McDonald's, you just know what you're going to get. If I go into a store, I usually grab like some sort of pack of Coors Banquet. Yeah, the Coors Original or whatever it is.
Coors Heavies.
Yeah.
I'm Michelob, Miller Lite guy. Yeah.
You know what my problem is I'll have like a craft beer or a local beer or something, and I'll think it's really good. We went to a show on Sunday, and I had a really tasty wheat beer, and I enjoyed from start to finish. And then I put the can in recycling, and for the life of me, I could never tell you what it was.
Well, here's a good question. Someone said, what is your favorite beer can design?
Beer can design?
I'm going to say some of those Prince Eddie ones. I can't even think. There's like the blondie one with the girl on it. They've got one that they took like the Bones Brigade like skateboard logo. That's pretty nice.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
and I don't have like the memory for that sort of thing. The only beer can label, logo, whatever that I can think of is honestly just from living in Saskatchewan, Pilsner.
Yeah.
The green with the bunny and all the other stuff on it.
Even the Pabst Blue Ribbon can is just a work of art.
It is memorable.
People will
stand
slight
out.
PBR, but that can is just beautiful, isn't it?
It stands out. When you're on the shelves and you're looking, you see it right away.
All right, we got a couple more here. Someone says, does anyone else get stage fright at the urinals? Not, like, I don't think I'm worried about going to the urinal, but I do get those moments where you're like, why aren't I peeing right now?
Yeah, and then you get in your own head, and then it's worse because you're like, oh, now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm stressing. But then when it finally lets go, when the dam breaks,
Yeah.
Feels good.
You feel like that guy in that movie Waiting where you think everybody knows.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows.
I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
You're standing there and you're like, oh man, they all know that I'm not peeing. Sometimes I'll even do it where I just zip up and I'm like, let's go find another bathroom.
This isn't the spot. This isn't the time.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like, I don't think I've ever gone into the bathroom and taken stock of like, oh wow, urinal 4 down there is really having a hard time.
Piss much, bud?
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There are 3 states down in the South, Alabama, Texas, and Oklahoma, that are moving forward with a pilot project for a brand new vending machine from which you can verify your ID using either an ID scan or your facial scan.
Yeah.
And then buy ammunition.
Oh, like bullets?
Like bullets from a vending machine. It says tap, choose, verify, purchase. It's a 4-step process to buy bullets on the go.
You better hope those don't get stuck. That's the wrong person to get mad.
Imagine shaking a vending machine to try and get a magazine of bullets to fall out.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I mean, at least they've got the whole ID stuff down, which is good. So you got to make sure you have like your license and permits, whatever.
Well, I guess from what it is, or what it looks like, is they've just got like cameras and you just hold your ID up to it.
Okay.
So it also kind of feels like what's to stop Buddy from grabbing Dad's ID and being like, bing.
Oh, true, yeah.
I don't know all the specifics about this. It's still in the early phases.
But it's in like the deep south states, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Like if it was going to pop up somewhere. So this got me thinking, like, what other stuff do they put in vending machines? Because the first one that came to my mind is when I was at Pearson recently in Toronto.
Did you see the cake one?
The cake vending machine.
The cake vending machine, that's
Those
nice.
two opposite sides of the spectrum right there. You want bullets or you want a slice of cake? I think I'll take the cake every single time.
Depends what kind of person you are. Maybe you want both.
I've also seen in Toronto, I don't know if they have one in Pearson, but I've seen it in different stores, the big pizza vending machine where you like punch in what you want and it just pops you out in 15 minutes like a fresh baked pie.
I tried one of those, man.
Is it not good?
It's hot trash.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be very
hot
good.
trash, dude.
So I started looking sort of internationally, and like Japan has lettuce vending machines where they have little like lettuce beds that are being misted, and you can pop in some money and it just pots you out like a head of lettuce.
Oh, okay.
I've also seen in Los Angeles a caviar vending machine. If you're more of the upscale type.
Who's got change for that? There's
I
no
doubt-
way that thing takes change, right?
I doubt that it takes change. Yeah, I'm sure you
Like
gotta put in
I'm not the most
bills.
sophisticated gentleman, but I can tell you that I don't think caviar is going to go for like $1.50 or something.
Okay. What about a live crab vending machine? Because they have those in China where you put your money in and it pops you out a live crab.
That sounds super dangerous to reach in. they got to at least be rubber banded up, right?
They're banded and in packaging, and I just wonder, like, how often does the inventory have to be changed? Like, do you have to change these every day?
Dude, the smell of that vending machine
Oh,
has
when
got
you
to be
open
so
the front
gnarly.
door and it's just crab right in your face.
God, man, if they die in there, like, is it just filled with water?
They seem to be like packaged somehow. It says live crab,
Yeah.
but they are in the individual slots, like the little corkscrew that comes forward,
Sure.
that drops your chocolate bar. Or your
That's
bag
it.
of
They
chips.
pre-crack the shelf for you. Is that what they're doing?
What you do is you buy the ones off the top shelf, and the fall should.
That's the move. That's the move.
And then I'll give you one more that I saw because I thought maybe this would be up your alley. How do you feel about mashed potatoes?
Mashed potatoes in a vending machine?
Singapore has it's at 7-Eleven. Mashed potato vending machines.
See, that's one where I imagine that you've just got a boiled potato at the top and then it drops down and it's mashed by the time it gets to the bottom.
It looks a lot like the 7-Eleven nacho cheese dispenser.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of picturing a very liquidy, viscous mashed potatoes, and then you can also push a button for gravy.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That just made my stomach turn.
That'll cure your hunger problem at 5:34 in the morning, that's for sure.
Oh, God.
So I look at all this and I'm thinking like, oh my God, like maybe we've gone too far with the vending machines. Like it used to just be get a can of soda. Then maybe we put some chips in there, some chocolate bars. Now we're doing bullets and mashed potatoes. It feels like we skipped some steps of things that we could put into vending machines.
I have one request. Can we just get deodorant in vending machines?
Deodorant would be fantastic.
Deodorant needs to be in vending machines. The amount of people that are just stanking out there right now.
Honestly, like a medicine or like I'm not even sure how to say it, but like deodorant, Tums, Advil, like those kinds of things in a vending machine at different places like bars, nightclubs would be clutch.
On the States, they still got cigarette vending machines.
Those are the worst because those are so expensive.
Yeah, but it pre-shakes the pack up for you. You grab the one from the top. You don't got to give it the old smack.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What would you like to see in a vending machine? We got Ed from the county on the phone. What do you think, dude?
Beer and pot.
I like where your head's at.
Yeah, that is the ideal, man. Bars closed. Go get yourself a great big Jaeger and a six-pack.
Dude, honestly, even at the bar, it would be super nice when it's really busy if they just had a beer vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You didn't have to dick around going to the bar or something. You go and get yourself a Miller latte over there for the same price.
Right. It would take the pressure off the servers, too.
Well, and even you could do like a can of Coke with a mini like Jack or something attached to it, right?
Yeah.
And then on the pre-roll front, or like the weed front, you could have like the pre-rolls with like a bag of Doritos or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Right?
you buy the bag of chips and it has like clipped onto it.
You get your munchies.
Yeah, that's actually really smart. And you can do it with so many things too, because everybody's got their different preferences. You just buy a snack vending machine and just start stapling pre-rolls onto each thing in there.
Yes.
Because, I mean, who's going to say no to a bag of chips, some beef jerky? I think Ian texted in, get some beef jerky in
Some
there.
Skittles in there.
Oh, with a little joint attached to it.
Or, dude, even with a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, you
How
could
many
just
times do people get the pasties and they're like, oh, man, I just smoked. I need a drink right now. There we go. Solve the problem.
100%. I'm just picturing like a pre-roll just like duct taped onto the side of like a Barks root beer.
That would be awesome.
I had some other people here texting in. This one here seems very specific, and I'm going to leave your name off of it, but it says clean urine for drug testing. Just have the little bags hanging up in the union break room.
Well, you know what? They sell underwear in vending machines in Japan.
Well,
It's not too far-fetched.
Not for wearing. That's a different type of vending machine.
Sure. Nonetheless, not everyone's going to use the urine for clean purposes, right? For their job.
I did see somebody text in here. I like the idea of this one. A firewood vending machine. That one coming from Jack this morning, 762-555.
To be a big-ass vending machine.
It would have to be a big-ass vending machine, but it would be interesting to see how a firewood vending machine competes with the current model of just grabbing it from the end of some stranger's driveway.
Well, even it's funny. I've always wondered why gas stations just leave the firewood outside and why they don't do what they do with the ice.
Lock it up and make you get someone to come out and get it for you.
I see people all the time. I feel like the two biggest stolen items at a gas station have got to be firewood and windshield washer fluid.
Yeah, because it's just sitting there, and if you're, brave enough, you can make that dash. You can run off with that.
It's not even being brave enough. It's just,
this is for me now.
Here we are.
Ooh, what about at like the beach or something like that? A vending machine for gas station sunglasses. Just those $5 practically disposable sunglasses. You're just like, yep, that's my style, D7. And at the end of the day, if they're broken or sandy or whatever, you're $5.
Realistically, sunscreen is probably the move there.
Yeah, okay, no, that actually makes a lot more sense.
That's probably the
sunglasses.
move at the beach for sure.
That's row 1, row 2, and row 3, towels.
Honestly, I mean, we started this off talking about beer at the bar. Bring back the condom machines. Like, we need full-on vending machines for that. Put them in the college dorms. Put them in high schools. Like, we need to start spreading that message around that wear a glove,
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast. Would you rather Wednesday? Would you rather Wednesday?
All right, 762-555. Let's get weird. If you got a would you rather question, you can send it to us. I'll start with this one. Would you rather never smell or never taste again?
Oh, never smell, for sure. I'm in control of what I'm tasting, like 99% of my life. So I would hate to give up good tasting foods. I am not always in control of what I smell.
Yeah.
I would love to just be able to be like, you know what? I will give up fresh baked bread if I also get to give up any crowded Subway.
I will say, when I got COVID and I couldn't taste things, it was nice to like eat like some veggies and crap like that I don't usually like.
Just eating for sustenance?
Yeah, I was gonna say you could go on a wicked diet if you never had to taste anything.
That is actually true. I would miss it though. Like if I couldn't taste
Food
for
would just
whatever
be
reason,
bland, yeah.
You would only eat for sustenance.
Everything would taste great.
Right. So, but the problem is if I'd been born never tasting, I wouldn't know what I'm missing. But like, I've had a Baconator and I can't go back now.
True. Also, you'd be very easy to prank too.
100%.
Yeah.
People would constantly mess with your food.
Would you rather have the middle seat on a plane or be in a car without AC?
You know what? Car with no AC. I cannot handle people in my space, and unfortunately for me, I take up a lot of space.
And I guess you got the windows and stuff too, right? That you can roll down at
Right.
least, versus that little tiny fan that you have.
Even if you take away the ability to roll down the windows, just the ability to do this, just to put my arms out and not be infringing on somebody else, not to be cramped in.
Yeah.
I would take the bad car every day.
Someone said, would you rather drink beer or alcohol? I'm assuming they mean liquor.
Yeah. I mean, if I have my druthers, I'm much more of a dark rum guy than a beer guy.
Yeah.
But I like both. But I guess if I'm picking, give me hard liquor.
Beer every day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Beer over liquor. Yeah.
Oh, you're crazy.
I can drink beer all night. You give me a little liquor, that's when things start going down.
You know what I like about liquor over beer? Is there's more variety. Beer, generally, obviously there's different kinds of beers, reds and stouts and all that, but generally beer is all going to land in the same kind of taste area. Whereas with hard liquor, you can mix it with anything. The possibilities are endless.
I know where my night's going with beer. That's my thing.
That is a fair point.
I always know where my night's going with beer.
That is a fair point.
Someone said, would you rather take $1 million or have a snail hunt you for the rest of your life?
I have heard this one before, and I don't think...
Wouldn't you just take the $1 million?
So the idea is, if you take the full question, the snail, if it touches you, you die. It always knows 100% of the time where you are. You can never hide from it, and it is always at all times never resting, never stopping, moving towards you. So you can take the $1 million and you can live the life that affords you, but you also have to live in constant paranoia that if this snail ever catches up to you, you are dead.
I mean, if I find a snail in my home, I should die because that's kind of gross. All right, we'll wrap up with this one here. Would you rather have no elbows or no knees?
Oh, you know what?
I think I gotta go no knees.
Brother, my knee's been shot for about 10 years. I would give those up in a heartbeat.
Because I was gonna say good luck wiping.
Oh, but good luck sitting.
I mean, you could still sit.
You would have to go full timber from standing and fall down onto your butt.
Yeah.
You couldn't lower yourself.
But then, like, if you had no elbows...
Oh,
you just
neither
have, like,
of these is
floppy
good.
arms.
These are both nightmare scenarios.
Absolutely.
Oh God, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go no knees, and I just keep something I can fall on with me at all times.
Either or, you could join Cirque du Soleil and probably make a killing.
100%.
Yeah. Go down in Vegas on Fremont Street, be a street performer. Get an OnlyFans account if you had no knees. Holy.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I found a survey from a group called Study Finds, and they kind of go through like different review websites and stuff. And they take all the data and they put together to make lists. And they came up with a list of what they say is the 5 most iconic album art of all time, album covers of all time.
Okay.
There's some big heavy hitters in here. At number 1, they have the Velvet Underground and Nico album, which has the Andy Warhol banana on the front.
Oh, that's a classic, yeah.
Number 2, Abbey Road by the Beatles.
For sure.
Crossing the Road. Number 3, the Hindenburg Zeppelin, Led Zeppelin.
Iconic.
Absolutely. Number 4, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
I was thinking that would be a little
Has to
higher,
be on
actually.
there.
Yeah.
And then at number 5, interestingly, the album Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. with just like the white background and the baby
With the
sitting
baby
on the
sitting
cover.
there?
Yeah.
You know what? I like the list, but wouldn't be my top 5,
Well,
I
I
would
feel
say.
like everybody's
yeah.
got their own. Like they gave an honorable mention to the Rumors album by Fleetwood Mac, which
Well-
is an iconic one.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Where's Sgt. Pepper's?
Sgt. Pepper's also got a honorable mention, but I think if you're doing two Beatles, right, that maybe is a bit much.
True.
I do think Abbey Road goes higher.
Yeah,
So,
I guess. I'd say Nevermind by Nirvana with the baby.
That's a huge one that
Right?
honestly I'm very surprised did not land anywhere. Like they have 5 and then a couple honorable mentions, which feels like an odd number, and to not have Nevermind in there is weird.
Now, I would say that no one would probably have this on their list,
Hmm.
but it gets underlooked. Meatloaf's Bad Outta Hell.
With the motorcycle riding through hell?
That is hands down
Honestly.
the greatest album cover of all time. My old man used to have that in his car, and I just I was scared of it when I was a kid. For
Really?
I don't know why. It freaked me out.
You know
And then
what?
the older I got, I was like, this is pretty badass.
This
Like,
is why you and I get along. My mom, to this day, as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, she will tag me in anything on Facebook that is Meatloaf related. Because when I first saw that tape in our old truck when I was a little kid, I was like, Mom, hell is a bad word.
that album cover was deceiving because I thought that album cover, like, I thought Meatloaf was like so heavy.
Right. And then you put it on and it's 2 out of 3 ain't
And
bad.
I would do anything. And you're like, what?
This is not what I expected from the Demon Riders.
Sickest album cover of all time that does not get, I never see it on lists, I swear.
You know who has good album covers that, like, I can picture all of them in my head that will never get respect for them? Limp Bizkit had catchy album covers, man.
Yo, they had that creepy one, the chocolate starfish one. Yeah,
the
$3
God.
bill, y'all.
That's the one. That was
Yeah.
my favorite one. Like
Yeah.
they were standouts.
I don't even think. I'm trying to think of like albums that I've listened to recently. I feel like bands don't even put an effort into album covers anymore.
That's the problem, man, with like moving to digital from like, because it used to be a vibe. You go to the store, you buy the album, you'd almost buy the album based on the art.
That's what I'm saying with the Meatloaf thing. Like people just saw that and was like, "Oh, that's sick."
I
Like,
gotta check this out. I gotta
Yeah.
see what this is all about. Whereas now with digital, you're getting songs and links and Spotify and stuff like that. Half the time you're not even looking at your phone or you're using a smart device at home. You don't even see the album art anymore.
Dude, one of my favorites. I have the chick tattooed on my arm. The girl from Enema of the State,
That's
Blink-182, the
right.
sexy nurse with the glove.
That would go almost unnoticed. That woman became famous for a bit because of that picture.
Do you know how many young lads kept that album in their room, not just for listening purposes?
I would say it's about the same amount of young lads that went out and bought Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. Just because, it was popular at the time.
You might be correct.
I think I might be.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Talking about the greatest album art of all time.
A lot of people are texting in saying Tool, which I'll agree with. Those album covers is like a spectral, what is it, lateralist?
Yeah.
It's like you can look at that and find something new. Like,
Dude, the 10,000 Days album came with like special little like viewers, and it made it like 3D puzzles and stuff like that. As a just out of college young man, I may have spent quite some time with that.
Tool album covers are a rabbit hole in themselves.
100%. Also seeing a lot of love for Iron Maiden, which absolutely. And Rob Zombie album art is fun too. Just sort of these like wild, extreme.
Yeah.
You know what one that we missed? London Calling by The Clash.
Oh, it's a classic.
The guitar smash.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Is like you go from Tool that has these just like wild visuals to something as simple as just a photo of someone smashing a guitar.
But we kind of mentioned it a few minutes ago. Album artwork is kind of gone. You don't really see cool album artwork, or you at least don't recognize it because it's all just on your phone now, so you don't really care.
That's just it. Like the best case scenario nowadays is you have your phone plugged into your car and your car maybe has like a display screen. That's maybe the best place to see album art now.
But that's also sad because think about it, like someone either took a good photo or worked on the
Right.
artwork itself, and then
Yeah.
for what to be put in a little tiny box.
On the car radio screen or like on the bottom corner of your computer.
I do miss going to HMV and like perusing through the CDs and going through the genres or whatever, seeing the new releases, whatever.
Well, even like I told you, my foray into punk music as a young kid in the Northwest Territories, where it wasn't a big thing, was finding a Punk-O-Rama album and just being like, oh man, look at all the stuff that's on here and like all the crazy band names and the pictures and stuff.
Well, yeah, that was the best part about the like CDs was like pulling out the sleeve and then you'd have the liner notes.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the lyrics there, which I mean, I guess you don't need now.
You kind of do, like companies like Spotify, and I don't know if Apple Music does this as well,
does the lyrics,
where you can do the scrolling lyrics, and we're almost spoiled now because like if a song comes on and I want the lyrics, and it's like, oh, this artist hasn't updated the lyrics yet. Like, I get, like, offended.
Dude, I remember buying 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying in the 3rd grade. And
were you practicing?
Yeah, and I was like, G-Unit, what? It's good. What?
That was great, though, because not every CD had lyrics. Sometimes it was just like, here's track listings, here's who we're thanking, all that stuff.
Kids don't even know how cool it felt to get a parental advisory warning on a CD.
Yeah.
And your mom bought it for you, and you're like, yeah.
Or on the other side, kids don't know how much of a bummer it was when your grandparents bought you an album from Walmart. And you got the ultra censored version.
Oh, you got the censored version? Yeah.
It's like, Grandma, this is not the Eminem album that I asked for.
The lyrics are changed in different places. I will say, the one thing I don't miss about CDs, peeling off those stupid stickers.
Dude, there was a whole industry selling like different gadgets and gizmos that could take the plastic wrap off the jewel case.
You could crack the case.
That's the biggest problem with CDs was the jewel cases. If you looked at them funny, they just snapped.
You'd always try and like take it off without taking the thing off.
Yeah.
Oh my
You'd
God.
pop like one corner off of it, and then it was just, it's like when you get like a nick in your windshield, as soon as there was a small crack somewhere in the CD case, you knew it was going to spread.
Yeah, and then you'd have like the residue left on it afterwards or something, especially if it had one of the stickers on the front with like the list of singles that are on the album.
But at the same time, that feeling of getting a CD out of the plastic wrap, opening the case for the first time, and you know when the first time you take the CD out, it would kind of like resist a little bit, it was so snug in there, and when it finally like popped off for you to be able to put the CD player, you were just like, oh yeah.
And then you scratched it.
And it was ruined.
You picked my CD up in broad daylight, and you scratched it.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
If you send us a text 762-555, we'll try to reply and read your questions on the radio.
This one's interesting. It says, what would it take for you to give up your car and only ride a bike to get around? I guess bikes, and I would say probably like public transit, right?
Do you want the real answer?
Well, of course, yeah.
A DUI.
That's the only way.
That's the only way I'm giving up my car, man.
I remember when I lived in Edmonton, which is a fairly big city with a fairly decent public transit setup.
Yeah.
My wife at the time and I debated whether or not we should get rid of one of our cars because we were paying 2 payments, we were broke, all that stuff. But man, even with like good public transportation, I just couldn't imagine not having a car.
Well, even, dude, you see people, how they drive around here. Like, I ride my bike sometimes, a couple times a week. Dude, it's a nightmare out there. It's scary, honestly.
If it wasn't so dangerous, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's not why I wouldn't. I'm out of shape. That's why I don't ride a bike.
Also, if you're riding your bike in the snow,
that's true.
That's brutal, man.
That's true. Yeah, I would need a car in the winter at the very least.
Yeah.
Summer, we can talk. Wintertime, there's nothing you could offer me.
You gotta at least hope you get the blow box in your car, you know?
This one here says, if you could change one rule about being on the radio, what would it be?
I wouldn't mind, slipping some swear words. I'm not saying like I want to be like F this, F that all the time, but I feel like we're pretty good at it now, but there's sometimes where it's like you almost catch yourself and then like you like fuddle duddle a word like out of nowhere. Like.
You're so focused on like don't say it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wouldn't mind if we could go back to a time where radio DJs picked their own music.
Ooh, yes, absolutely.
It is, I will say, from a convenience standpoint, it is nice to walk in here in the morning and there's a full playlist ready to go and we don't have to really do anything. We maybe move a song or two here or there. But I got into radio right at the end of the era where like you started your show by picking your CDs and your albums and stuff like that. And I do wish like we could inject some of our personality into the music.
I will say this though, I know like it's the classic thing with every radio station. People are like, play all the same songs. Even if it was the DJ still picking it, I guarantee you'd hear a lot of the same bands.
Yeah.
It's your bias, right? It's like
exactly.
your iPod playlist, whatever songs you listen to at home, you listen to the same crap over and over again. So,
what's better, swimming pool, beach, or sprinkler in the backyard?
Ooh, sprinkler in the backyard is actually pretty nice because it doesn't really cost you anything.
Underrated, right?
Yeah.
Like, even I'm not saying that in my 40s I'm going to go run and jump through the sprinkler like I did when I was a kid, but just like having the old sprinkler on and it like hits you every now and again, or the big wavy misty ones.
Sure.
Like, what a great way to just cool down.
I love the beach and I love the pool, but the beach, you're going to get sand in places you don't want. It's going to be in your backpack for the next 5 years. It's going to be in your car forever.
And we all know how you feel about people at the pool.
Public swimming pools is just, you're just swimming in urine at that point. So sprinkler all day.
Sprinkler is a good addition to this trio. It usually doesn't get brought up.
And if you got kids, it's a good way to keep them busy. You can sit and drink a beer and just watch them run through the sprinkler.
Dude,
like,
not to mention, you got a tarp, you got a sprinkler, you got a slip and slide.
You got a broken fence.
What kind of cake do you want for your birthday?
Ice cream cake.
Are you an ice cream cake guy?
Ice cream cake. I don't really like actual like cake. I like cheesecake and I like ice cream cake specifically, but like normal birthday cake, I don't really like that much.
I like ice cream cake at someone else's birthday. I'm always down for one slice of ice cream cake, but when it's then got to go back into your freezer and you feel obligated to eat the rest of it, I'm like, that's too much. That's too much ice cream.
I'll roll you a lefty next time you have an ice cream cake. You'll finish that thing for sure, my guy.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store, with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.